BMC people feel builder is making a lot of money, whether you're doing a
Yeah.
10-story tower or a 100-story tower.
So what was the work done before that that has given you confidence to take this step?
I went onto Google and I searched tallest towers of India. Now, a lot of people have a misconception that World Towers is the tallest tower of India. It's probably not even in the top 5. Then I searched tallest towers of Asia. Now, India doesn't come in top 50 also. Why people buy Starbucks? Because it's Instagrammable. The Gen Zs, which they call it Instagrammable. So, if you become the brand which the world loves to flaunt, you are successful.
Is this project and everything designed in this project is compliant to Vastu?
Vastu is not magic. And I would repeat it, that Vastu is science.
Do you have any particular way of finding inspiration for the work you do?
The day you start believing that this is the benchmark, your growth stops. So always achieve a benchmark, and the moment you've achieved it, the very next second, enjoy it for a bit, but don't stop and just relish the moments. Go on for your next journey, that how do I cross this? That's when you'll be successful.
So, hello everyone. Manan, I'm very glad and happy to have this opportunity to host you on the Speaking Real Estate podcast. And one of the main driving discussions of today is going to be about the MICL Tower Avan, which is currently the India's tallest tower in construction. But along with that, I also want to discuss something about your journey, about your company, and many various other things. And one thing I would like to share as well is that uh, 10, 15 years ago, maybe around 12, 13 years ago, you were in a phase of your life where you might be doing your education, or a point in your life where you might be joining your family business full-fledgedly. And I am somewhat in that phase where in the coming third quarter of this year, where I will finish my master's, will be joining the family business, that too in a real estate development company. And so I do want to come uh, to the part where what education you did, and then moving on, did education, do you think it was relevant at that point of time in your life that it has helped you today to become who you are?
So thank you so much for having me here today. And so let's start with something which is how the journey began. And very few people know about this. So during basically my schooling days, dad used to take me around to a lot of places. So we were earlier into contracting. So my grandfather started a civil construction company back in 1964. And I think my father joined around the early 90s, around 1990 or 1991 is when he joined the company. And he joined in quite early. I think he was at the age of around 23, if I'm correct, when he joined the business. And what happened that time is India was on the leap of breakthrough for infrastructure growth. And the company got its first port contract award in 1996, which was the first private port ever to be built in India. And dad had won that contract. So, during my early days, he took me around the city. He took me to Nava Sheva, that this is the port which we are constructing. I was too young in during the schooling days, so I barely understood the difference between a contracting infrastructure company and a developer company. So what happened is I always used to try to find my logo on the compound wall or on the gate somewhere, like where is Man Infra written? And I asked him this question, that why is that so many of the schools we've done, colleges we've done, commercial buildings, and even port for that instance, and why is there no name written outside? So then he explained me that you are constructing it for someone. So you have the engineering expertise, and he is the operator or the developer. So you basically construct and give it and hand it over to him. He would be doing the sale part. So that's when I first realized, and in my subconscious mind, I started developing something which is like, I told him, just for fun, that if I will make a building in future and if I am joining the business, I will only make building which has my logo on it. I don't want to make buildings for somebody else, because all the expertise is us, all the strengths, all the brainstorming, all the hard work we do, and at the end, all the credibility and the credit goes to someone else. So, we had this just fun conversation, and that's when I realized, like, after I started growing up, after my college days, I realized that I wanted to become a developer. So I always used to join my office during my college summer holidays. So I used to sit outside my dad's cabin where his PA sits, and I used to just sit and learn who's coming to meet him, what are people talking about. So I started writing vouchers of people. So my journey started in the company by understanding first what I wanted to become, uh, which is a developer. And then, in terms of the career, I started writing vouchers for my employees. So they used to claim anything for the snacks which they've eaten, or they've gone to the site from HO. So, the taxi expenses or the flight expenses, I started to do bookings for them. So I started to understand where the traffic movement is going around, who's traveling where, who's claiming what kind of expenses, and what our business is all about. And at least for first 4 years, I never had a cabin space for myself. So a lot of times, people think that when it's a father's business, everything comes in legacy to you. But it was very different for me because my father always told me, if you do not deserve, I'm not gonna let you sit into the top position. And I somehow respect that, because what happens is eventually people start, doesn't matter how hard you work, it's a notion, unfortunately, for the industry. Not only us, for anyone. Like today, if any famous person is there and his son takes a succession, everybody feels he's like the nepo kid. That's a term which they use in Bollywood. But something similar they feel in business also. But what I feel is, personally, when you have a legacy behind you, somebody who's achieved that fame, somebody who's achieved that respect, and who's crafted something, it becomes a lot more difficult. And in fact, the expectations is nearly 100x of what the expectations were from our fathers, because they were creators, and during the journey they created the thing. So expectations were not there. If they failed, it's fine. If they succeeded, people were happy. But we cannot expect, or they cannot um accept the fact that we can fail too. So the responsibility is nearly 100 times of what they had. Plus, what happens is all the employees are looking forward to us. So I
Right.
always wanted to start ground up. So I even started going to sites in my earlier days. So I used to sit at the container offices. At that time, we used to have these small pota cabins. Now the container size is like around 10 by 20. And in that, my staff is also sitting. There's a small pantry also. So the tea coffees are getting made over there. The contractors are coming in. The laborers also sometimes used to come in. That's the same office everybody used to share. And it's a very different journey, because you got to understand how your staff is functioning, what is their mindset. Because when it's been now almost 11 years I joined the business, um, I understood one thing, that people will respect you more if you understand their way of working, rather than you implementing something which you like. So I always wanted to start something absolutely like from a zero scratch position. So I've even gone to site and tied steel. So how is the steel tied before the concreting happens? So I even learned that process, how the excavation works. I used to go sit in the cranes also. I have operated cranes, I've operated JCBs, everything. I've taken the experience before, channeling to something else. And it really helped me understand the business, because we were an engineering company and I wanted to make it into a developer company. So the first year when I joined, uh, there's a very small story I'll tell you as part of this journey. I joined the company in 2013. 2012, regarding the education, I've done BBA. So I went to Kingston University. And in 2012, my grandmother was detected with cancer. And we lost her to that. But during her last days, in Gujarati Jain, we have something called as Jain monks, which we call as Maharaj Sahib, and the ladies are called Mahasati ji. So she had become a monk in her last days, and she had fasted for, I think, around 20 days, no water, no medicine, nothing. So she had taken Santharo basically. And so when they leave the normal society, basically when we say ke, Sansar Tyag Diya, that's when the name also changes. So basically, you die the normal uh, birth which you've taken, and you are reborn with a new name. So her name from Indira Ben Shah got converted to Aaradhya. So Aaradhya ji Masati ji. So in 2012 she became that, and that's when we had acquired our first land parcel in Ghatkopar East. So dad said, let's name this building Aaradhya Towers. So there were around two wings. So I said, let's do one thing. I want people to remember me right from the very first building that I construct, because my grandfather did civil contracting. My father developed a completely new line of ports. And I also wanted to do something which is never been done before in the company. So I wanted to create a legacy out of it. So that's where Aaradhya came in. So all our buildings today start from Aaradhya. So it's Aaradhya Signature, Aaradhya Avan, Aaradhya 1, Aaradhya 1 Park, etc. and so on. So that's how the journey began for me as a developer post graduating. And I joined in early, like even I joined in at the age of 21. So right after I graduated, I'd immediately joined in the company, and BBA gave me an exposure basically towards multiple streams of businesses. Like, because see, I personally believe doesn't matter what education you're getting, that education will never teach you business. That will teach and give you just exposure, how the accounting principle works, some basic 5 P's of marketing, and the basic bookish knowledge. And it gives you exposure to the culture, what kind of people are there in the world. Your friend circle, your business circle becomes a larger, especially when you're in the college days, because these are the people who are you going to be having, your childhood relationships with. So education, I believe, is important, but to expect that education will teach you to do business is not something which I personally believe in. Business is gonna come in from your fathers, your forefathers. They'll teach you, your staff, how much the more and more you connect to people, everybody's, got different ways of operating the business. So I think the best way of education to learn business is to meet more and more people, to meet more and more top people, that how did they reach the top journey. So then you can decide your own path, and you can craft your own journey as well according to that.
I find so much relatability in everything that you said because I am in that phase right now because during my BBA, I did BBA from NMIMS and it didn't really taught me anything that would change anything how the businesses work. And it was still noon. And by one, I used to go to sit next to my dad, and that has given me some level of maturity, some different way of thinking that wouldn't be possible by just sitting and attending lectures. So definitely agreeing to what you said. Uh, One thing that I want to delve deep into is that there is a certain way that people look up to you when you are your father's son and entering the business. People are not having that same respect that you would be having today. And if you can elaborate the change and the change and the shift of how people were seeing you at that point of time to what your actions led today to the way they look up to you today.
Every father to son succession plan is going to be tough. Even if you are a shopkeeper, for example, like your father was running this small kirana shop for 20 years, and all of a sudden the son is sitting over there. So, all the old customers, they have a rapport, they have a relation, that when the customer comes, that personalized touch, that is sometimes they don't even need to tell the shopkeeper ke मुझे 1 किलो दाल चाहिए, मुझे I want this shampoo or etc. Whatever things they're buying, because that person knows it very well. All of a sudden, they're seeing a change of face, and they're not getting that personalized touch which they used to. So what I feel is people genuinely need to slightly open up to this thing, because eventually it is going to happen. The change of face, the change of leadership is going to happen. So during my days, genuinely it was extremely, extremely tough, because see, my father's successful. I'm very proud of him. He is a businessman also. He is a philanthropist also, and he's a politician also now, because he's taking philanthropy to another level. So my family donates 40% of its income every year. Every year since 10 years, he started increasing the percentage. He started from 5%. Today he's at 40%. And he's doing a great job giving it back to the society. So what happens is he's already created a big blanket of his legacy. Now, when you grow up, uh, his loyal team, his loyal people have always seen you as a kid, that you used to come into office as a kid of your father, and you used to sit in his cabin. You never understood business. And what happens is, in the early days, the struggle is going to be tough, because you just don't have to impress your customers. So, like, I'll talk about my stream. Like, I'm into real estate, and I think so are you. Uh, what happens in real estate is the brokers have got to connect with your father. Your contractors have got connect with your father. The bankers have got connect with your father. The engineers have got connect with your father. Now, when they come, first of all, they'll have an ego shift, that I report to the boss. I report to the top person. Why am I supposed to report or even discuss? Forget reporting with the father's son, because this is the initial days where you've not proven anything to the world, that you deserve this position and you're gonna earn it in the future. So in the earlier days, I same thing happened with me. Um, Even if you're making sense, 95% of the time, people will think that you're not making sense. Any innovative ideas, any creative thoughts, anything which I used to share, people used to feel that he's a kid. Why is he teaching us? I am in this business. I'm working for this company for past 20 years. I'm working this company for past 30 years. So the initial struggle is gonna be a big deal. And one thing which I realized is, to be a superstar, you gotta impress continuously, time and again, and prove them wrong. That not by enforcing it onto them, but making sure that you're friends with them and explaining them in their language. So a lot of times, like, I used to come with innovative thoughts that, let's increase the height of the lobby this way, let's do a pool on the top, let's do this, let's do that. And because you're young, it's fresh blood, you want to innovate something, you want to have the best of your things, because projects don't come every now and then, and you want to make the best out of it. So that time they used to think of me as a crazy man. Like, Manan, if he's giving ideas, it's going to be something which we cannot achieve. We cannot do this. We cannot do that. And a lot of negative reports used to go to my dad. I used to sit with that. I used to explain him that, see, understand, there is one way of working, which is the traditional way in the market. There's another way where I want to craft a journey for MICL, where people take pride that whatever this guy is making is something innovative, because otherwise we would be lost in the crowd. There might be like 5,000 developers in Mumbai. How is MICL going to be MICL? So, in fact, I'll tell you how MICL got formed, so you'll have a better understanding where this leadership shift became crazy. So, what happened in 2012, when the journey started for real estate? By the time I joined in 2013, dad had acquired one plot and kept, because he knew that I wanted to diversify into the real estate division. So we started constructing. We finished two projects, three projects. We got the Aaradhya name. And what happens is, if you see my company's name, it's this. It's the spelling is MAN space Infra Construction Limited. Now people sometimes call it man. Now it's actually Man. Now Man came in from my name and my mother's name. So my mother's name is Mansi. My name is Manan. So the first three initials is how the lettering came. That's why it's not Man or Man. It's Man. And people always used to see us as an infrastructure player. You're doing ports, you're doing bridges, you're doing roads, railway jobs and stuff. Why are you making buildings? And even when we were making buildings, people used to initially get a doubt that whether he'll be able to deliver the building, whether he'll be able to deliver with quality and something which we expect. So that's when I started to realize that people are not taking me as a serious real estate player. They were starting to feel that this is like a one-off experiment. So one fine day, I went back to my drawing board and I started crafting a brand architecture. Now, brand architecture is something which is extremely important for any company's recognition. And so, what I thought is if everybody is seeing me as an infrastructure player now, 5 years, 10 years later, will still think of me as an infrastructure player only? Because the name says it all, like Man Infra Construction. Now, an infra player making residential complexes, making high end buildings, it doesn't connect to people, though we would be the best player to make it because all the engineering expertise and infrastructure is in house. We've got the cranes, we've got the RMC plants, we've got the labor camps. I mean, everything is part of our ecosystem, and we've been doing it for multiple developers across the country. But still, the world is about branding, like whether the shirt you buy or the watch you wear or anything per se. So I started crafting the brand architecture that I think time has come to differentiate our EPC company, which is the engineering division, with the real estate division. Now, the moment I came with this thought, the first thing which was important is capturing the legacy of the ancestral company. So, I did not want to change the name. So, how do we come out with a fresh brand, keeping the legacy? That's where it struck me, and I converted Man Infra Construction Limited to MICL. So MICL is nothing else but Man Infra Construction Limited. Short,
Short,
sweet.
activated.
It's a square stamp logo. You stretch it from whichever angle, it's always going to be square, applicable anywhere. Whether you want to stamp it on your hand, whether you want to stamp it on the concrete. In fact, we're stamping our logos onto concretes as well. And it's beautifully crafted that way. So when I came up with this thought and I shared it first with my companies, my close fellow mates, they are like, what are you saying? Why would you want to do such a devastating thing? And I came into a shocker. Again, a few months I went back. I'm like, am I doing something wrong? I spoke to a few people outside and I started getting demotivated. Like, am I really taking an absolutely wrong step? Then one day, I took all the courage. I went to dad and I told him, I want to do this. Man Infra is Man Infra. MICL is MICL. Let's give it a separate impression. Even my dad got angry. Even he did not believe in me that in fact people used to call him and tell him कि आपका बेटा कंपनी डुबा देगा. वो तो आपका नाम ही डुबाने के लिए कर रहा है कि उसको मन इंफ्रा ही डुबा देना है. He doesn't want to have मन इंफ्रा anymore. He doesn't believe this and that. And somehow I always had it in my mind that I don't think I'm doing something wrong. Because when you have an individual identity for both, you get better respect, I feel. 1.5 year, me and dad, we fought day in, day out. He always told me, "Tu company डुबा देगा." I'm like, company डुबा नहीं रहा हूँ, मैं company बना रहा हूँ. We're going to take it to another league. It's going to be something exceptional. Trust me. Have faith in me. Forcefully, I changed the logo on the earlier buildings which were already constructed by me in part of the real estate. So I removed Man Infra, put it on the side, and I wrote contracting partner. And I wrote another MICL logo on top of the podium so that people connect me right from the first building. Like Aaradhya and MICL is one journey. Again, people started getting, oh, he's changing the logo. Baap ka naam duba dega. All of these thoughts which typically people would have just to go and troll you around without knowing the crux and aesthetics of the brand architecture. After 1.5 year of fight, dad started telling me nothing. Like, okay, like, forget it. I'm tired of explaining it to him. He doesn't want to listen. Tomorrow, if he dubaufies the company, it's him who's going to suffer. I'm like, I'm willing to take that up. It's fine. So it was not my ego. It was something which I studied in depth. Like I'll give you a very simple example. There was a car called as Kizashi, which was launched by Maruti Suzuki. I'm talking about 2010, 2011 something. First time Maruti Suzuki in India came up with a car which used to cost 25 to 30 lakh rupees. Now the Indian sentiments, Maruti 30 lakhs, are you nuts? Shouldn't I go and buy a Mercedes or a Skoda or some other? Kizashi was a beautiful car, mind-blowing engine. I'd personally driven it, so I knew what it felt. I did not buy it though, but I'm a car fanatic, so I love cars. So I went and just researched about it, and it flopped majorly. After a couple of years, today, if you see, Maruti Suzuki has come out with the same theory, which I launched with MICL as Nexa. So why did they launch Nexa? And you see the Nexa pricing today. None of the cars are starting below 12, 13 lakh rupees. 12, 13 lakhs to 20 lakhs and beyond. I don't know the exact price, but they formulated a brand called as Nexa. Everything is same. The engineering, the technology, the factories are the same, but the branding is Nexa. So when a consumer buys a Nexa, I am buying Nexa. I am not buying Suzuki. So he has a pride that मैं मारुति में नहीं घूम रहा हूँ. I'm part of slightly upper bracket league. Same way, India has a brand called Bata. Oh, are you wearing Bata slippers? Now, Bata used to be like the lowest of the economical pricing. They used to come with, in fact, Bata was a role model example. If you remember, that 99 rupee strategy was started by Bata pricing. And in fact, it got the
Yes.
title called as Bata pricing, like 199, not 200. Just reducing 1 rupee, people forget 99 and they feel it's a 100 rupee chappal.
Yes.
But they wanted to get into the premium segment. Again, Bata charging 3,000, 4,000. People did not accept them. They bought the brand Hush Puppies. So Hush Puppies is owned by Bata. And again, today you're paying 15,000 rupees for Hush Puppies, which is again just branded version of Bata. Same thing, Zara Massimo Dutti,
Massimo Dutti.
right? Same thing if you see a few of the other brands. So what people are doing is, if people want brand, give them the brand, give them the sense of achievement, because people are not just buying brands to flaunt. Actually, it's a self achievement trophy which you're giving it to yourself, that I can afford it. I'm giving it to myself because I have reached somewhere, and it's satisfying and pampering your ego and your self esteem. So that's where, when I realize that if people want brand, give them the brand to flaunt, because there's nothing better than people flaunting your brand and you making money. So I told Dad, give me couple of years. Today, I'm very happy. God's been kind. Everybody talks MICL. Now, nobody is talking Man Infra or Man Infra, like all these things. And everyone who's staying today, because it's a B2C brand, you have to differentiate yourself when you're selling it directly to the consumer or when you're selling it directly to a business person. So contracting wise, we never had a marketing division. We never had a sales division. We never had an architecture division. We never had interior execution division. Neither we had licensing division. So I started all of these divisions from ground up, from zero. All the departments were created by me. In fact, now I'm going into the further detailing depth, where I've introduced and quality check department, which we already had as part of our contracting. But this is an audit quality check department which sits over my own contracting team, making sure that every line, detail, leakages, windows, facades, everything is completed to the perfection. So, you will always face certain things, because, see, once a man is successful, nobody bothers about your past complications. So, I think if you feel you are right in whatever you are planning to do in life, like, or to whoever is the consumer listening to our podcast right now, that if you feel you're right, but make sure that your research is correct, because a lot of time people make the mistake of getting overconfident and egoistic. So I would rather say, you please make sure that your research is perfected, that why you want to do this, and then you craft out your journey that how you're going to achieve that. So that's how the struggle and story happened of how Man Infra is now MICL also. We've got both the divisions, and MICL is now more famous, in fact, in the consumer side of it. And yes, right from my internal staff to my own board to my own father, there were times. Today, everyone's definitely happy with the progress, what people are seeing. So earlier days, yes, the struggle is going to be real. You have to prove every day, and you cannot afford to get demotivated because people will pull you down because they've not seen you getting successful. They've not seen others talking good about you yet. And they will always feel that you are your father's son. So a lot of times I still get, because see what happens is dad keeps on adding new verticals into his portfolio. I'm very happy for him. Now he's a politician also. So, a lot of times people, uh, when I go to some public meets, like, Arey, he's BJP Paraksha MLA's son. And I always correct them over there. Like, my father's an MLA, but till date, I have never utilized his title to encash something. In fact, my father tells me the same thing. Like, I'm the MLA, but you can never utilize my title to do any of the things. That you cannot be an MLA's son. And I'm very happy that he told me. And I also share the same vision that, you create your own shadow. Don't be under your father. You will take time. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a much more difficult job because to prove an established player in the market, uh, who's already successful, I would say, and to be more successful than them will take time, motivation, courage. And I always feel, add something which is your original thing. Like, I added real estate into this business. Now, real estate is my originality. So people will never say ke he got it from his father. I'm just sitting on the position. Like, I created real estate from zero. And I'm sure a lot of people are listening to this might be coming, for them, it might be coming it as a shocker because they might have always thought that I have come here, I have sat on my father's chair and I'm running the show. No, it's not the case. There was no real estate in this company. There was no real estate departments. Everything is started from zero. And of course, I had a beautiful team with me who were loyal to my dad, and those people helped us out, and it's all because of the team. It's not my own credibility. It's the entire team's efforts where we've reached today. But one thing which has always struck me is once you go back home, forget the negative talks which people are doing. I do it on myself always. Like, a lot of times, okay, Arey, he's Paraksha MLA's son. He'll not recognize me as Manan Shah because, of course, my father is doing a much larger job than what I am. One day I will reach that stage and I will surpass him. That's what my ambition is. So once you go back home, forget and find out innovative ways to create your own legacy. Utilize your father's legacy to some extent to have a platform, but to grow the platform. Like today, if you say Mukesh Bhai Ambani, right? Dhiru Bhai gave him the platform, but today Reliance is because of Reliance. Yes, he had the platform, but he's multiplied it. And today, Mukesh Bhai is like India's richest, maybe Asia's one of the most powerful businessmen. So today, it's very important that if you see, he crafted his own journey to retail, telecom. None of these things existed during Dhirubhai's time. Like, they diversified drastically into technology and everything. So same way, I always feel if you add something onto your business, it can be anything. That will be your originality. That would be yours truly, and people will recognize you for that.
This is really inspiring, the whole journey, how you went through. Did you like, you told like even you and your dad had a disagreement for a period of 1.5 years on you being not on him also being an obstruction in what you were wanting to do. Already the employees are not always ready with open welcoming hands to you. On top of that, family members are also obstructing on the decisions that you want to take. Was there any point of time in this whole period that you felt like you really want to give up and just listen to what is being said and like just get away from? So how did you deal with that?
I did a lot of times that, see, at the end, I respect him and he's created and given the platform. So I cannot enforce that I want to do this. Huh? I'm going to be doing this. I did not be rebellious. One thing is, people have to understand that the moment you become rebellious, not just to your own father, even the employees start feeling that he's a madman. He's not listening to his father. What will he respect me for? So I never became rebellious. Correct. So always have that thin line thoughtfully kept. I kept on convincing him with new case studies every day. He used to get fed up, but I kept on convincing him till he understood what is my way of looking at the brand. What is the importance of a brand? I'll give you a very simple example. Like for example, like this is an airport, right? Airports were never into existence. Today, this airport, if I cover the Apple logo, is available in the China market, or a lot of these copies are coming in Bombay, which is available for 2000 rupees, 1500 rupees. Why do you pay 21,000 or 24,000 for an AirPods for Apple? Because Apple has created a brand. Even Starbucks, for that instance. In fact, Starbucks is the best example, I would say, to anyone who's on the mission to create a brand. If you cover the Starbucks cup logo, it's a white paper cup. The cup manufacturing costs 1.5 rupees. The tea bag which goes inside, if you're having green tea, for example, 2.5 rupees for a green tea bag manufacturing cost. Basic overheads, marketing, lighting, etc. etc. I don't think the operating cost should be more than 25 rupees. But you buy it for 400 bucks, 300 bucks, and beyond. Why people buy Starbucks? Because it's Instagrammable. The Gen Zs, which they call it Instagrammable. So if you become the brand which the world loves to flaunt, you are successful. So I kept on explaining him these things, that we become MICL so that people flaunt that I stay in an MICL house. Where do you stay? I am staying in Aaradhya. And slowly, with the buildings which started getting added, I even explained him that we should not change name from Aaradhya. Like every building should be Aaradhya, because today if you come to Ghatkopar, or if you go to Mira Bhayandar, if you go to Juhu, every Aaradhya is a landmark. And today, lot of times, and I feel very proud, about my company's success, and the team is creditable for it, that today when you're standing outside the building, you say, मैं आराध्या के पास खड़ा हूँ. I'm standing outside Aaradhya. And a lot of times people say I'm standing outside Aaradhya, and people say, okay, which Aaradhya? There are 7 around here. So Aaradhya is becoming a status. So that also I explained him when we were constructing during this journey. So that's when I explained him, and slowly he started understanding. The main breakthrough came for me is frankly not just 1.5 years of struggle, is after 10 years of convincing, is when I launched the tallest tower of India, which people call it the tallest, and probably it should be because of the height clearance that we've got, is when the entire Mumbai city started calling him ICL. So that's when he finally got convinced that people are now relating that, yes, the same port company, the stock listed company, that's the same MICL. So now he is absolutely comfortable with using MICL. In fact, he has started saying MICL himself. So, uh, but yes, I feel you have to convince your family members, or your board, or your employees. Don't be rebellious, don't be egoistic, don't be angry, because understand, sometimes there are only few people who can see certain things, and that's why that where they've reached is because of that. Like example, Mark Zuckerberg saw something on social media. There's no social media per se. He saw that people are chatting on to some chat rooms. I remember Yahoo Messenger used to be there during our school days, and the college people are connected, and he created Facebook. So he saw something, and people might, I'm sure, might have called him also a madman at that time. Now, what are you talking about? Why should I go on the website and put my photograph, and it's open to the world, and people can see my chats and etc., right? So be confident is what I would say. Be convincing and show it with the right set of examples. I think that should get you through.
Definitely agreeing to everything. Now, moving on to your journey of the kind of projects that MICL has been doing. You are now on the path to constructing currently the tallest tower in India. And what were the previous kind of projects? Because I believe like if someone hasn't done any real construction or haven't delivered any real projects, they wouldn't even have the self confidence in themselves to take this such a huge step. And it needs certain kind of affirmations, self confidence, beliefs in yourself, and some trust that you and your team will be able to pull off this thing as well. So, what was the work done before that that has given you confidence to take this step?
See, we've been doing a lot of skyscrapers way before we got into real estate as well. So there's a 55-story tower at Goregaon. It's constructed by us. We've done a 35-story tower at Vikhroli, which is the tallest tower of Vikhroli. We've done one of the tallest towers of at Mulund, 45 stories. So we had already done 180 meters, 200 meters tall buildings, and this also came in very different. So earlier, this wasn't supposed to be this tall. So we appointed Hafiz as the architect for this project. And when I went to Hafiz, before Hafiz, I had taken pitch from five more architects. I had seen the permutation combinations and everything. And after seeing everything, I used to take rounds around Mumbai city, uh, trying to see the geographic location that where is this tower position. So tomorrow, if I'm making a 250 meters building, earlier it was planned at 250 meters. What is the visibility of my building? Can I see it from Bandra? Can I see it from Sea Can I see it from Freeway or Racecourse or all of these locations? And I realized that there are a lot of skyscrapers in South Bombay. So one day I went back, sat with team. I'm like, what's the final height of the building? The FSI was consumed. They said 250 meters. I went onto Google and I searched tallest towers of India. Now, a lot of people have a misconception that World Towers is the tallest tower of India. It's probably not even in the top five. That's a true fact check. Um, so I went and I saw that. Then I searched tallest towers of Asia. Now, India doesn't come in top 50 also. Uh, and I was shocked to see that there is no positioning of any single residential tower onto the global skyline. So there's no recognition. People are having wallpapers of Hong Kong, Tokyo, London, Singapore, New York, all around the world, except a wallpaper of India. So I wanted to come in the wallpapers on mobile phones of people. That's how the crazy thought started. So then I went back and I told people that the tallest tower of India is Minerva, which is 300 meters. Earlier, it used to be Palais Royal, but Palais Royal, they did not get some permission. I don't know what exactly was the situation. So they have capped, I think, at 280 meters. So then Piramal Aranya, that's around 280 meters. I'm like, everyone's at 280 and this is 300. So I told my engineers, सिर्फ 55 meters height बढ़ानी है. Like, sir, 55 meters, we'll have to do the complete new structure, new steel requirement, new concrete requirement, wind analysis, this, that, this, that. And I went to Hafiz and I told him, I don't want to put my logo on top of the building. He's like, why? I'm like, uh, my statement was with a comma, not full stop. I want my building to be my logo. So the shape of the building is designed in such a fashion that I want to be the world's first developer to make the building shape of the logo of MICL. So if you see MICL has these two arches inside, and if you see the Avan's elevation, these are the two arches. So that's how I went to Hafiz and I told him that I want to be India's tallest star. Again, he had a grin on his face like, sir, are you sure you want to do India's tallest tower? Then I spoke to my board and dad, and there was a sudden reaction like, you're making 35, 40 story tower. You're talking about making a 110-story tower. What are you talking about? There's a curse on India. A lot of people told me that there's a tallest tower curse. it never gets completed. So we never want to be first. And that time I was in a jolly mood. So an Instagram reel dialogue struck into my mind that, and I told in my board that, who was the second person which landed onto the moon? And nobody had the answer. So I jokingly said, like, so the saying is correct. Like, nobody remembers the person who came second. Everybody remembers Neil Armstrong, who was the first person who landed onto the moon. So why you want to be the second, third tallest in the country? I want to be the tallest in India. Again, the same madman theory came in. People started thinking that he's getting too over obsessive about Tardev project, and he's going off the track. But then again, I sat with engineers. I got the wind analysis guy from US who's done Burj Khalifa. So, and I told people that you're doing 45, 50, 60-story towers. It's the same, just the strength of the concrete increases. Little bit of wind analysis just to showcase that it's that easy. It's not that easy, but so that people have a little more confidence. Like, thoda bahut karna hai, we'll do this much, and we'll be done. So I went, met the wind analysis guy, I met the structural guy, I met Hafiz, and then we crafted it. So the journey started from 250. We had reached, I remember, around 280. Now, again, we were becoming second, third tallest. I'm like, we have to cross 300 meters anyhow. That's when we become the tallest. And honestly, the journey was not just to be the tallest tower of India, because, every now and then these records can be broken. Somebody comes with, our tower is 306 meters. Tomorrow, somebody might come with 307 meters. So the journey was to make a global icon. Today, you see Empire State Building, Petronas Tower, um, this World Towers, which were there at New York earlier, World Trade Center. So people remember them very well, but in Mumbai, you don't remember a single tower. So the journey came from there. And because we were doing so many of these tall buildings, we had the confidence. All the systems came into place and it came into reality. And we went to civil aviation. So there's a special authority for height clearance. You have to go to Delhi and you have to get the approval. We got 100% height clearance. So we are the first developer who's taken 100% approval on the first day before launching. All of these other tall towers are procedural, where FSI increased and they kept on adding on to the floors. But we did not want to do that. So we did not launch Aaradhya Avan for 1 year. We delayed the launch for a year because we wanted to do something so iconic that today, like, we are selling 200 crore worth of inventories every quarter without having to do much marketing. And people are taking pride. People are giving references without even us asking, because they feel they want to be part of this global icon, which is going to be in the future ready. So they don't want to miss out on those things. So that's how the journey for Avan started. And the confidence came in because we've been doing tallest towers of our micro markets. So why not do something which is like a superstructure? In fact, there's a fact check. This would be the first structure in India in any form which will cross 1000 feet height. So there's nothing in the country existing which is going to cross 1000 feet vertical height. And again, that strucks our checklist that, do something which is, again, people will remember you for. And, this tower is going to be visible from Bandra, at Taj, then Sea Link, then Coastal Road, Marine Drive. I mean, you go to any place in the city, this building is going to be visible. And this is going to be a landmark for Mumbai city, for India, and it's going to position us onto the global map. In fact, we will be in the top 10 of Asia now because of this tower for the very first time, as the first residential building to come in the top 10 in Asia.
I want to get into more detail about the whole project as uh, so moving on, what kind of development is the project like? It's a like outright land, SRA, BMC.
It's a redevelopment project. There used to be something called as Chikkalwadi over here. And the existing tenants used to be staying over there, and there used to be another bungalow as well. So the bungalow was bought by our partner, So he became the landlord, and the existing tenants were rehabilitated to a new building. So we've carved out a separate plot altogether, and that's where they've been relocated. So this has no SRA, no existing people who are staying over there. It's a completely fresh development. So which is again very unique for a South Bombay project.
I've heard that it sometimes when the building is crossing a certain amount of height, it takes more efforts in terms of approvals of a project. And did you face any difference in terms of getting approvals for this project, and also bureaucrats or even the guys sitting at BMC? Everybody gets excited when they think that this is going to be a very big project. The builder is going to earn lots of money in this. So we should also make a bigger pie in this. So was it
See,
different?
irrespective of builder making a big project or not, BMC people feel builder is making a lot of money, whether you're doing a
Yeah.
10-story tower or a 100-story tower. So that's a separate story in itself. But yes, permissions, like I said, you have to go to a lot of special authority approvals to get these kind of height clearances. So there's a something called as NBCC, which is a national code for structure. Then there is something called as a super high rise authority, which approves building which goes beyond 250 meters. Then there's a separate approval required for environment clearance. There's a separate. So we went through everything, and we were very cautious because I have seen, and every time I used to hear people talking skyscraper curves, like, so I always wanted to be so cautious that let's get every approval possible. It's 6 months delay. We'll have to pump in more cash flow. It's fine. But the day we have all approvals, I don't have to market the product. Everybody is going to come in upfront and say that I want a piece of pie over here. So that's how we went through the entire journey. For it took us around 6 to 8 months more, to be honest, to get these kind of approvals. But I think the time was definitely worth it because everything then sets into place. And today I've got 100% CC till the top. So we can go non-stop constructing, just keep on selling, keep on building. So I am not into that dilemma which the other developers were stuck, which was FSI was not there, permissions were not there, and height clearance was not there. I have everything into the position, so I don't have to worry about.
If you had to mention the best three highlights of a one project, what would they be?
See, Avan's uniqueness is not just the height and the facade. It has got an ecosystem of its own. So what I found missing again in Mumbai city is, especially in the south side, that greenery is missing. So pollution is going up. So what happens is your fatigueness when you're back home from office, even in office, you're sitting in artificial air, breathing the same air conditioned processed air, right? So we wanted that freshness to come in. So the first most unique thing is you have the entire ecosystem of green. So we are growing world's first rainforest in the sky. So nobody's ever done it before. So on the 50th floor, we are going to be growing the rainforest kind of plantation. So you have dense plants, good greenery, to give you that fresh oxygen, when you're on the podium. Alongside, there's almost 34,000 square feet of a club. Now, this club has a bowling alley, it has turf for your pickleball and volleyball and badminton, etc. It's got a Turkish hammam. It's got a private dining space. So, we've created a system where people love socializing, gathering, partying, playing a sport together, chilling in the pool. And what we've done is the most unique thing is we've segregated the clubs. So there's a kids club and there's an adults club. So all the kids activities are down and the adult activities are on the top. Lot of times, in fact, 99% of the times, the developers have made a mistake of clubbing everything together. Now, I have a son who's 20 months old, and I love spending time with him. But it's not necessary that my neighbor would enjoy that same noise when we are playing and running around on the podium, right? I've come on a Sunday to relax in the pool or to read a book in the cafe. and there are these chaotic things happening around. So what we did is we segregated those spaces. So the entire ecosystem over here is going to be so beautifully crafted that your amenities are divided. So the crowd is divided in terms of the lifestyle. Like I said, all of these top-notch things, right from a bowling alley to a swimming pool to a temperature-controlled pool to a hammam, everything has been there. That's the first unique thing. Second unique thing about this is every apartment that's designed in Aaradhya 1, whether you buy a 3-bed or a 4-bed or a 5-bed, each apartment has minimum two-sided views, which is again unique for South Bombay. So you enjoy views on one side with cross ventilation on the other side. In fact, the 4 beds and the 5 beds have three-sided views. So you have two oceanic views from your bedrooms and your living room, and the cross ventilation windows on the sides. So three-sided facing apartments is a unique thing. And the third most unique thing what we have designed is the penthouses. So if you see the crown elevation, it's designed in a triangle form, which represents our logo. That is penthouse. So we've got 3 penthouses in each buildings, which can be clubbed and made into a duplex, which can be clubbed and can be made into a triplex also. And the best part what comes in is because you would be the tallest in the city, naturally all the buildings are below you. We have crafted terraces connected to your house, not above your house. So you can go walk from your living room to an open to sky terrace, and every penthouse is in a step form. So every terrace is open to sky with a private pool. So you have the best of everything. Like you enjoy your sunsets, do your parties, enjoy your swim, spend time with your kids and family on the terrace. So this is the most unique penthouse ever created in India.
One thing just came into my mind right now is that at times today many people are believing in the concept of Vastu. So is this project and everything designed in this project is compliant to Vastu?
We also strictly follow Vastu. Every project of ours, right from the entry to the exit of the building to the apartment, to no toilets in northeast, to no south entries, everything has been taken care of. No head position in the north of the bed. So we've made sure that every apartment is Vastu compliant. And Vastu, I had done an earlier podcast where I explained people that Vastu is not magic. And I would repeat it that Vastu is science. And people are seeing real benefits out of it. And we definitely follow it thoroughly across all our projects.
Definitely. Then I believe that this homes that you're creating at Awan are going to be the next best homes in the whole of the city. And all the best and best of luck. And really hoping a good outcome out of this. Moving on to some other personal things about your life is that do you believe in work life balance?
Thoroughly. So um, I have created a time mix for myself where there are 3 things which I do. Morning to evening, of course, is office. Post office, I've been following this before even I started working. Of course, college days were different where you used to enjoy and there was no restrictions on certain things and you were less responsible in life. But after I got married and even after I got a child, I've made sure that there is time to rejuvenate yourself. Now, you might like anything. You might love to play a sport or swim or just go out and do a long drive or sit in a cafe, sip a coffee, whatever you like. We, like me, my wife, we do it every day, even today. We go out, hang out with our friends. Because what happens is if you do not rejuvenate yourself after office hours, you're spoiling your relationship with your family because a lot of times you would be frustrated and you would be saying things out of anger which you do not intend to, and it comes out in a different manner. Secondly, there is no freshness in you the next day. If you have not laughed with your friends, if you have not cracked a joke, if you have not seen a movie, if you have not gone on a drive, just relaxing and, calming your mind, the next day is where your fatigueness would hit. So I've always kept a work-life balance where, of course, if there's work, there are few days which are hectic. There are launches which are coming up, so you have to be there at 11 o'clock in the night also. And sometimes there is inauguration, so I'm there at 6 a.m. in the morning also. But I've made sure that there is some time, even if you get half an hour in a day, keep that time for yourself, little bit, some time for your family, whoever would be there in your family. Like you might not have kids, you might have kids, or maybe your parents. So it's very important for me, because I always tell a lot of people, and I've been listening to a lot of people honestly, that which recently I've been picking up and getting trolled also, that work 90 hours, work 100 hours a week. Now, I would just say working is fine. But at the end, if you are just working and working and working and making money and not spending the money on yourself or family or doing a good, noble cause, like donate it at least. What is the point of you working? Why are you working? Are you working for a lifestyle? Okay, but then are you spending that money on your lifestyle? So people make a lot of mistake in life, and I've always kept the mantra of whatever you make, at least have 20% of the lifestyle. So if you're making say 100 crores a year, make sure that you have a lifestyle of 20 crores. Like you travel maybe in a better flight, you go stay in a better five-star hotel or visit a country, do some charity work, buy a better car. Why not? You've earned it. You deserve it. Forget what the world is going to talk about, that he's blowing money. It's okay. It's your hard earned money. You are the only one who's got the right to decide how you want to spend it. Because society will talk irrespective whether you do or you don't. If you don't, people will say, look at him. He's making so much money, and the way he dresses or in which car he goes. And if you spend money, you say, like, see, he's blowing out money. So it's okay. Forget what the world is about to say. Have a 20% lifestyle. Why a 20% mantra in my life is because, God forbid, tomorrow if my income becomes half, so from 100 it became 50, I will still sustain the same lifestyle which I had, because I am spending 20. The rest I am utilizing for my savings and growth and investing it back into the business. So even with 50 rupees earning, my 20 rupees lifestyle is still the same. I can still buy the same cars, still go on the same foreign trips. And I'm saying that the slang is like YOLO, like YOLO. You only live once. And that's true. Like, I'm not saying to blow out all the money in the world, but at least live the best golden years of your life, because tomorrow when you're old, and even if you want to spend, neither you would be interested, neither you would have the energy, neither your body would be responding to those kind of things. Like, you want to buy a Ferrari at the age of 60. I've seen a lot of people doing it. I'm very happy, but would you be able to drive it the same way, with the same enthusiasm, with the same passion? No. So I'm sure you should do the best out of it when the time comes. Work, have a balance with your family, have a balance with your friends, because I've seen a lot of people in today's age. The biggest thing which spoils is the friendship. When you're growing in life, you are running alone. I've always done one thing in life, and I've got a good set of friends. I have a very close knit small circle. I've always done one thing, that I don't want to be rich alone. Always make sure that your friends are also becoming richer with you. Because if you become rich and you are alone and your social circle is here, you will not enjoy that first class flight alone. You will not enjoy that presidential suite alone. You will always want your childhood friends to be with you and enjoy that space with you. So make sure that whenever there are tips and tricks available for them to make money, God's been overkind on you. Make sure that you share that secret recipe, or the business tricks, so that even they make money and you enjoy all together.
That's a very heartwarming advice, suggestion that you have given. How do you draw inspiration for your work? Maybe if you said it earlier, o- before the podcast, that you were sending references and finding out various things for your project Avan. So do you have any particular way of finding inspiration for the work you do?
So every night before I go to sleep, A lot of people read books. I'm honestly not a book guy, so a lot of time people ask me which is your favorite book, and I really don't have an answer to it because I don't read any books. But I do a lot of research every night. Half an hour to 45 minutes, I'm on my iPad or my phone, whatever is there available, and I'm researching things which are happening globally. My inspirations have always been global because the moment you do something which is not existing in your country, people appreciate. So I'm on Pinterest, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm reading news articles, I'm reading a lot of magazines. In fact, like there's a very beautiful app called as Maxter. You pay some around 2,500 rupees or 3,000 rupees for an entire year. It's very nominal, and you get access to like 2,000 magazines. So I do a lot of research over there in terms of interiors, in terms of architecture, in terms of cars, in terms of fashion, lifestyle, because I feel real estate is such a beautiful business which connects to every stream. Like real estate can be fashionable because the moment you're fashionable, your lobbies are looking more beautiful. Your clubhouse are looking more beautiful. Your entry arrival is more stylish. So I make sure I take the fashion sense also. What's happening in Paris? What's happening in Milan? What is the kind of textured materials they are using? What is the kind of fabrics these people are using? Can I use the same curtains in my show flat, which can connect international audience to Indians as well? So same way, I still do a lot of research because if you're not researching enough, you will not be ahead of the edge. You would be doing things which you've been listening to and what the common people have been doing around. But if you want to succeed in life and if you want to be at the top, you will have to have your own research and creations. So, like my new house is coming up. We would be shifting somewhere soon. So, I already have 2,000 images shortlisted for my new house. My research is already done. Now, I would be sitting with architect with much more readiness when I'm talking to my architect that I want this in my bedroom. And a lot of times architects come in as in shock that we are just sitting and drafting. You have everything crafted already in your mind. So it becomes a lot more easier for us when we are doing these kind of things. So I think research is something which helps and which has always helped me in my business also. Like Aaradhya One is one of the things. We are doing something at Ghatkopar East which is called as Aaradhya One Park. Now, this project came into existence because I was on Google Map. So we had completed one gated community, Aaradhya One Earth at Ghatkopar East, and my sales were done, everything was done, and I was on Google Map like, what am I supposed to do next? Which is my next gated community for Ghatkopar? And I was scrolling through on the map, and I landed over there, and I saw a bunch of 10 buildings, and I drew a pencil outline over it. I'm like, this is my next cluster. We went, we spoke to society, and they were so happy. And first, they were into a state of shock that at Ghatkopar 60 feet, in 30 years, there have been never any person who's designed a gated community. So we convinced 10 buildings to come in together, and today is becoming a beautiful gated community. So again, what it boils down to is research. Like if that night I wouldn't be on Google Map, I would not be having a beautiful project today.
Beautiful way of keeping up with the things that are going on in life, and also another fact that it's not necessary to read books, or reading books is the only way to educate
I mean,
yourself,
even
or
Instagram Reels, I'll tell you,
they are.
Instagram Reels are also helping. It purely depends on who you follow.
Yes,
But I make sure that knowledge comes in from every stream possible, like whether it's reels. In fact, even memes help. You'll not believe. Like a lot of times there have been memes where we just laugh about it, but then it makes sense that it's helping you out do something innovative and creative.
definitely your Instagram can also add value to your life depending on what your FIP is. Moving on to, where does your passion for cars come from?
So passion for cars started. Honestly, it came in from my father. So he was a lot into cars during his days. So I remember the day I was born, he sold his bike and he had bought a car. So he had bought his first, I think, ambassador, and Hindustan Motors is what it used to be called. And then he went to Fiat, then Maruti 800, and that's where the journey started. So when I was growing up, I've always seen, new cars. He loved driving also. The actual breakthrough came in where this is the first time I'm sharing it online, though a lot of people have seen it, is how my number came in. So all my cars have got one number, which is 9800. So that's all my cars are 9800. So we had bought a Hyundai Sonata years back, I think around more than 15 years back. And coincidentally, it came with a number 9800 at that time. Dad loved the number and he's like, henceforward, I want the same number. And I'm talking about 20 years back, almost 15 years back, when people did not even know that you can buy a number, which is a VIP number, and you can, like your desired number on your vehicle. So he started doing those things 15, 18 years back. It's now in trend that you have the common numbers for all your cars. So that's where it started growing into me. And that's how the passion for cars uh, initially started. Honestly, my favorite car keeps on changing. So I started to become an SUV guy. So I started when I joined college, I had a BMW 5 Series. But then, I used to travel from Ghatkopar to Juhu. But then I realized like I want to get an SUV. So the SUV journey started from there. So I bought an Audi Q7. That time it used to be a beast. So Audi Q7 it started. Then I bought a Range Rover Evoque. Then a Range Rover Vogue. Then a G63 AMG. To a Rolls Royce Cullinan as well. Right now I have a Bentley Bentayga, and I bought another G wagon. Um so the journey for cars started, and I keep on changing my preference because. But one brand which I've always been loving and I've been keeping it in my garage is a Porsche. So I started my first Porsche was a Porsche Cayenne. I bought it in 2014. I kept it for 5 years. Then I bought the new model of a Porsche Cayenne. Then I bought the Porsche Panamera. That's how I love the brand. So Porsche is something which is very close to my heart. I love the drive feel, and the customization that you can do. In fact, I feel a Porsche is definitely better than my Bentley also.
Loving your passion for your cars, and also I loved every bit of this podcast, starting from your journey where there is a quite a lot of relatability that I found, and kind of following the steps that you followed 10, 12 years ago to moving on to how you wanted and had certain beliefs in yourself and stick to them to make things happen. And it does take a lot of patience in a person to come to this level, and how you have created landmark projects to now creating one of the landmark projects will be, which will be like always be remembered and will be like in history of the books as well. Like at that point of time you were creating the tallest tower, and hopefully the next tallest tower, the record that is going to be broken would be again by you.
You
So
never know, like we would be coming soon with another tallest star, breaking
yeah,
our own record.
definitely
So
hoping for that. Really inspired by you and very grateful for this conversation today. Thank you so
thank you for
much.
having me here. There's
Thank you.
this one thing which I would like to conclude with is a lot of times people have asked me that what's the benchmark that you want to achieve, and I always tell them that benchmark is something which is supposed to be pushed every time you achieve it. So today we've achieved India's tallest tower. I'm already on the journey to work to create another tallest tower to beat our own record. So, like never get stuck, because the day you start believing that this is the benchmark, your growth stops. So always achieve a benchmark, and the moment you've achieved it, the very next second, enjoy it for a bit, but don't stop and just relish the moments. Go on for your next journey, that how do I cross this? That's when you'll be successful.
Thank you. Thank you, Manan.
Thank
Hoping
you.
to
Thank
see
you for having
you
me.
and meet you in person soon.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yes.